right now.
Yeah, hit them all up.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team now? Since they got Tom Brady and now Gronk coming on board, and I feel like they have a lot of weapons. Tom Brady has no excuses now. I mean, look, I think this is the best talent he ever had since Randy Moss. I think, in my opinion.
Dude, the Bucs got Tom Brady.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They did.
What? Holy cow! Yeah, man. I mean, I think this is so fun to watch. I mean, I'm a big Bruce Arians fan. I think the world of BA. I think he is one of the most underrated people in how he can work with quarterbacks. And what Tom was really looking for was a place to where he doesn't go and have like a dictatorship over the way the offense should be run. He wants to collaborate, and he wanted to collaborate with his coach and have that interaction, that kind of push back and forth. There's my ideas, you're right. And BA is the best at that. He is the best at changing what he has to do to fit your strengths and conveying that to you. I mean, what he has done with all these other guys and go find a quarterback doesn't think the world of him, from Ben Roethlisberger on down, that he's worked with and the stuff he did in Indiana. I mean, it's remarkable. I think Tom going there before the Brady move, and now it's one of those things, like, that's one of the reasons why we're like, gosh, I hope this starts on time, right? Because you want to see what's going to happen. And I think if I had any place I would want to put, like, be a fly on the wall for this offseason, it would be in the room that Bruce Arians and Tom Brady are working in together. I think that's a TV show. I mean, that'd be unbelievable to watch that interaction.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. So since I told you earlier, I'm a Cowboys fan. So all right. So obviously Tampa Bay is in NFC also. Which offense do you think is better right now? I mean, I'm not saying I'm obviously the season hasn't started. I'm just saying, on paper, which offense do you think is better, Cowboys or Buccaneers right now?
I mean, it's kind of hard to argue with what the Bucs put up with a guy that threw 30-plus touchdowns. I mean, 30-plus interceptions. I mean, as well. I mean, I think the Cowboys have a really good squad. I mean, and, I think, Travis Frederick retired. That kind of that's kind of a blow there. But I think the part, and I kind of said this a couple of times, people are worried about quarterbacks, receivers, centers, tight ends, middle linebackers, kind of as rookies coming in and making an impact. Guys that have to do a lot of thinking, right? The position has a ton of studying and work to do. Rookie tight ends don't usually come in and dominate right away. It's a position you're learning essentially 3 positions in one, playing tight ends. Receiver, it's a whole route. It's a quarterback's the same thing. So I think CD is going to contribute for sure. If there wasn't this offseason, I wonder if he'd had the same type of contribution. But I mean, I'd probably say the Bucs. I mean, how are you going to go against the greatest quarterback of all time? But I mean, how are you going to not include the Saints? I mean, right. I think the Saints might have the best offense in the NFC. You know what I mean? So, but the question was those two, so we can say that. But I'd say Bucs.
No, actually we got our possible replacement at center in the draft. We traded up with the Eagles, and we got the guy from Wisconsin, Tyler. I forgot his last name. I can't pronounce it, but
he's a really good player.
Yeah, so the Cowboys love these Wisconsin centers for some reason, but it pans out well. So let's see what happens there. But here's my next question. Do you see the Broncos? Obviously, you're in Colorado, but do you see the Broncos being like a sneaky team in the playoffs this year in the AFC with all the talent they have now?
I think what would be great for Denver is if they snuck into the playoffs, and obviously we have a different playoff format this year, right? So it's going to be a little bit easier to get in. But if they find a way to get in, and even if they're one and done, I think you got to really look out for the Broncos in 2021. I think that's when you really got to. But I think they had a really good draft. They gave Drew Lock everything under the sun to be successful, and that was kind of their goal. Their goal since Peyton Manning retired was let's try to find a quarterback. And as we're trying to find one, we're going to build up our defense, and we're going to have a really good defense. And they kept having a really good defense, even though the teams weren't that good after the Super Bowl 50 team. And then once they got their quarterback and what John Elway saw and Drew Lock those 5 games of the end of last year, they changed their philosophy this offseason. It was, all right, now we got to become more explosive. We have the quarterback. Let's go out and do it. Nobody thought they were going to go with KJ Hamler in the second round, myself included. We all knew if the right receiver fell to them at 15, they were going to go with that, and Jerry Jeudy falling to them at 15 and not having to trade up to get the guy that a lot of people believe is the best receiver in this draft was a gift for Drew Lock and company. The other part that nobody's talking about is I don't know if people outside of Denver think Cortland Sutton's going to be a star or know who he is, because that kid's going to be a superstar in the NFL. Yeah. I mean, he is a great receiver. And once they traded Emmanuel Sanders and it was all on him, you got a chance to see how good he was when he was the guy. But also teams started thinking, when I talked to other teams, it was like, if we stop Cortland Sutton, well, we're going to beat the Broncos. That's easy. So now you have a guy opposite of him. This is just going to make Sutton even better. Yeah. Now you got to worry about 2 other receivers. And Noah Fant, they expect monster things from him in his second year in the NFL. He was swimming like most kids are in their first year as a tight end. You got 2 Pro Bowl running backs, and you helped your offensive line. I think left tackle is a bit of an issue. I think this team is really, and I don't think sneaky is the word. I think after what you saw in free agency with them getting Gordon and them going and get Graham Glasgow to play the other guard spot, which was their big target. And, you go and get Jarrell Casey, who they stole Jarrell Casey essentially for nothing. And then the draft, I think people around the league are like, no, they are in a division with the best team in football, which hurts them. But I don't think they're going to sneak up on anybody, but all of it falls on whether Drew Lock can play, which we don't really know that. I mean, we know he looked pretty good in 5 games, but if he can play, I might be spending more time in Denver than I have the last couple of years. I'll say that.
Yeah, I just want to say Von Miller now in good health. So Von Miller is healthy now. So he got
no COVID. He was in their linebacker meeting today, spinning on his turntables for all the other linebackers. Like they do the Zoom meetings, like everybody around the world is doing, and all the outside linebackers are in this Zoom meeting, and Von's like spinning on his turntables and like mixing together people being like Super Bowl 50 MVP Von Miller, mixing it up.
Wow,
he's all right. I'd want to be in that position group during this time period of any position group around the country.
Yeah. So before I let you go, I got a couple more things for you. What advice would you give to these young sports broadcasters that are trying to be in your business and my business and everyone's business, like especially in the sports industry?
I think the first thing, and I learned this at a pretty early age, be willing to move, be willing to relocate. I mean, my dad in Philly used to have these interns from Temple and stuff. Be like, all right, how do I get a job at Channel 6 in Philadelphia? Well, it's like, that's the number 4 market in the country. Like you can't start here out of college. Like, be willing to move. I moved all over the country. Didn't say no to anything. That's the other thing. I didn't say no to anything. Like, hey, do you want to do this? Yeah, let's give it a try. You know what I mean? And I tried everything in front of the camera and behind the camera, and then the writing side of things. Like every single aspect of journalism, I think you got to feel like you're not above any one part of it, not above any sort of story. Cover high school football, tell a great story. Cover college football, tell a great story. People are going to listen to you if you're a good storyteller. Right. You can make uninteresting subject matter extremely interesting by being a good storyteller. And I think you learn that when you're covering things that may not be a great story and people may not be interested in it. You got to lure them in because you're covering, no slight to anyone, like girls softball in high school, and you write that's how you get going, and that's how you get moving in this business. And I think relocating is a big part of it. And I think reps, like the more you do it, is really the biggest thing. And that's like with any job, but the more you sit and stare into a camera and talk into it, you're going to get more and more comfortable. And if you're not comfortable, the viewer's not comfortable. Right. And they're going to sense it in you. It's like, man, you ever go see a bad stand-up act and the guy's uncomfortable up there and you're like, oh God, you're like, oh, when is this over? Like, people can tell if you're a phony or if you're nervous in front of a camera, and they're just not going to enjoy it either. Yeah. So I just think reps are a huge part. Relocating and be willing to do that is a huge part. Now, I'm under the school of like, if you love what you do more than anything, live wherever. wherever you can have the best chance to do that. Some people want to live in one spot. Well, I think in this business that may hurt you in a sense, to be completely blatantly honest. But yeah, man, don't be scared to cover anything. Learn how to be a good storyteller, relocate, and just stare into a camera, which any kid can do now. They can just stare in front of their phone and record themselves doing report after report after report.
Yeah. So, like, what do you say to these young kids like me? For me, I keep pushing and reach out to you guys, and now I'm getting people that want to come on my show by reaching to me now because they see all my content. I'm putting content out. So, what do you say? Obviously, podcasts. A podcast is a big thing now. So, would you say that, like me, doing a podcast would help these kids going forward, like a podcast, like what I'm doing?
Yeah. Your interviewing skills, right, are a huge part of this job, and you always wonder. Like I told you, Steve is a big mentor to me. Mike Silver is a big mentor to me. I think Mike's one of the best sports writers ever, and he gets stuff that nobody else gets. And his article on Monday is a must read for whatever game he was at on Sunday, because he gets stuff that nobody else gets. Why is it? A, because he develops great relationships, which what you're kind of doing with this. And two, like, he asks questions in a manner in which people want to tell him stuff. Like, right. So in a podcast, if you're interviewing or talking sports or like, if you can interview people, you're going to learn how to get something out of people. Right. And you're only going to learn that by reading, going to school, and reading about it, going to school, and doing it. Right. And I think I'm a big proponent in this business of doing it is the most important part. It's not the school side of it. I don't want to knock my university, but I don't know what I learned that's helping me here other than the times where I was actually out doing it, you know? So I think all these avenues that kids have now, I'm super jealous of. Like, I would have had a podcast in high school. I would have had a podcast in middle school. You know what I mean? If I had that chance. We were carrying around a 8mm handy cam, making movies and shooting at each other, and I would edit those together and stuff, like tape to tape. Now there's so many resources. I think you're a perfect example of it, to where you're a hustler, bro. Like, you grind and you go and you try to get all of us to come on here with persistence, and you're not going to take no for an answer. You're not going to quit. And that's respected in this business, man. So, like, that type of stuff, that kids need to learn, that they, like, you can't be scared to go ask somebody a question or go ask somebody to go do something. So, yeah, having a podcast as a kid right now, I think, is money. And I think it is absolutely an avenue that you can continue to hone your skills. It used to be you didn't get on the radio, you didn't get on TV. Where are you practicing? Right now you have that ability. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, so yesterday, before we go any further, yesterday I had Damian Woody on and Anita Collins from ESPN. So I'm so honored when they agreed to come on, especially Damian Woody, one of the best. So
yeah. You're getting all of them, man. White Cheese been on here. That guy's like one of the most respected people in our business, man. Yesterday
I was supposed to have Tom Pelissero, but he had to reschedule for another week, so he's going to get back to me.
Oh, my God. It's classic Tom. Classic Tom. I see how it is, TP.
But I have a couple of rapid-fire questions for you. So,
okay.
First one, Kawhi Leonard's laugh or Kevin Hart's laugh?
Oh, man, that's so hard. I'm going to go Kevin Hart. I'm a Philly guy. Kevin Hart's from Philly. I gotta go Kevin Hart. But I covered Kawhi Leonard in college, and none of us saw that coming.
The laugh.
Yeah, man.
Favorite food?
Anything Mexican. My wife's Mexican. Anything Mexican.
Favorite sports movie?
I'd probably say Bull Durham. Bull Durham's my favorite sports movie for sure. I'm a Costner guy. Yeah.
Who is the funniest person on the NFL Network crew?
Oh, man. I think I find Silver hilarious. I think Mike Silver is one of the funniest people. When I go to the Combine Super Bowl, we're kind of running mates with each other, and his stories are just incredible with all the Rodman stuff that's been going out after everybody watching The Last Dance. He wrote a book with Rodman. He is fantastic.
Here's my next question. Did Lindsay and Ian text back?
I didn't text Lindsay. Ian texted me which podcast, and I said, I'll get you the details.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
No, I reached out to him already, but that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Okay.
Favorite thing to do outside of your work?
Ski. 100% ski. We ski like crazy. That's kind of what our family does. And it is my getaway from football. Definitely have toned it back a little bit in what I'm jumping off of and doing, but skiing is definitely the number one thing.
Thoughts on this Michael Jordan documentary, if you saw it?
I've watched every piece, 100%. I love documentaries. I love documentaries, even not about sports, but I think it's been awesome. I was curious how I was going to watch 20 hours of Michael Jordan, but it's been a blast so far. I right off the bat, they got me when I realized how honest everybody was going to be during it. I think they've done a decent job of that. I know Mike gets the last word about everything, which is fine by me, but I think it's been pretty transparent so far. They haven't really held anything back, so I'm excited to see it keep going.
Best receiver on the NFL Network crew.
Best receiver?
Yeah.
I mean, I might say, how do you not say Irv? But I know Steve better, and Steve might physically hurt me if I don't say Steve. So I'd probably say my man Steve.
Oh man. Yeah, so the last two things here, this question means a lot. I've been asking all my guests this question that comes on the show about the late Kobe Bryant. I've been getting everybody's perspective on what he meant to them, and he was one of my role models growing up, watching him play for the Lakers. And I just want to get your perspective, what he meant to you, and what does Mama mentality mean to you, and his daughter Gianna. Especially, today's her birthday, by the way.
Birthday, yeah, sure.
Yeah, rest in peace. Yeah.
So I went to Upper Marion High School, and Kobe went to Lower Marion High School. So they're obviously opposite schools, but he was a couple years ahead of me. So I watched him play in high school. I mean, he played in our gym, and I watched. People were hanging from the rafters, and I was in probably I want to say sixth grade when he played against us in high school. And so I mean, he was the biggest thing in the city. I mean, by a long shot, everybody was going nuts, about him, and then watching it grow and become, this unbelievable superstar. I think what I take most about him is there's very few people that are that driven, and very few people that have a mentality, and he has his own nicknamed mentality because of it, that just don't take no for an answer and succeed at every single thing they do. I think, right. I don't know how can you not envy that? I mean, the guy's already won an Oscar. I mean, he won an Oscar pretty dang quick into starting this production company of being a storyteller. There's a really good article written by a buddy of mine in the Philadelphia Inquirer that you should take a read on. I'll send it to you after this, about his buddy who worked at YouTube, who we played high school basketball with, and they played against Kobe, and Kobe came in to do a pitch at YouTube about a children's series he wanted to have on YouTube. This was several years ago, and I won't tell you too much. I think it's just a really, really good read. I'm a nerd of journalism. It's a great read. I'll send you the link to it.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's a really great Kobe story, and it tells a lot about the kind of guy he was.
Thank you. That'd be awesome. And the last thing here, would you like to say anything to all the frontline people?
Yeah, man. I mean, it is remarkable. I mean, we talked about Laurent Duvernay-Tardif this morning, a guy that just doesn't really have to do it. He's choosing to do it. I mean, we had a paramedic from Colorado who went to New York City to kind of aid and help, that we found out just ended up passing away from it. And it's touched our family personally. We've lost a family member.
Sorry.
And so anybody who's out there doing it, man, it's unbelievable. I mean, it really is. They're a different brand of human being, right, than all of us. I talk into a camera and wear makeup, and they will help people at all costs. And it's just, I think it's a gene or some part of their brain that just I wish more of us had. I wish I had. And it makes you really envious of the type of people they are. So it's awesome. Everybody who's done anything, and I'm working on a story right now about what some athletes are doing for some kids in hospitals and stuff. So it's been the worst of times right now following all of this, but at the same time, I think we're getting to see a lot of amazing people and what the human spirit's capable of, and it's pretty remarkable.
Sorry for your loss. My prayers are with you guys.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah, so there he is, guys. The great James Palmer from NFL.
You can say maybe above average, but I'm a great part.
Come on now. All of you guys are awesome.
C+.
No, you guys. I'll give you guys an A+ because you guys are great. You're keeping us sports fans, especially entertained through this tough situation, doing these shows. And I just want to say, great job. Keep up the great work. I'll be posting this interview on Twitter, Instagram, and all my other social media formats. So you guys keep an eye on this. And Can I get that follow back on Twitter too?
Oh, man, put me on blast right now. Yeah, you got it, brother.
Okay. No, but yeah, you're the best, man. Keep up the great work.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. Stay safe.
No problem. Yeah, you too, man. You too, for sure.